Well. Good afternoon, good day, friends and family. Thanks for stopping by. This is the West Best Media, and my name is Neville Philpotts. Now, we're going to talk about South Africa, and I'm going to get into something real deep in the politics of South Africa. A man that is feared by all the opposition parties in South Africa. That's Julius Malema. And South Africa today is at a crossroad. The ANC is collapsing. The DA has hit its ceilings. And Jacob Zuma party, the MK party, is already tearing itself apart. Into the vacuum rise Julius Malema, the man trained in the ANC, fire molded by Winnie Mandela, defiance and Nelson Mandela discipline. Some see him as the future of South Africa. Others see him as the greatest threat to the system since 1994. Now, Malema is not just an ordinary politician. He didn't just appear out of nowhere. He was forged inside the ANC Youth League, where he rose fast, bold, and fearless. He helped Jacob Zuma to topple Tambu Mbeki, playing the kingmaker at a young age. But the irony is, the same Zuma he once elevated later became threatened by Malema growth. Malema pushed for land reform without compensation, nationalizing of mines, and radical economic freedom that terrified Zuma, but also the ANC elites, especially those tied to business and foreign investors. By 2012, Malema was expelled officially from the ANC. It was it was for bringing the party into dispute. That's what they claim. In reality, it was because he had become too powerful, too radical, and too uncomfortable. Malema had Winnie Mandela's fire, but Malema wasn't alone. He had guardian, yes, Winnie Mandela. To Malema, she wasn't just a comrade. She was his political mother. She saw him the same uncompromising fire she carried through dark days of apartheid. Winnie gave Malema cover when the ANC leaders, the elders, wanted to silence him. She told him, she told him to speak for the poor, for the women, for the youth in the township. She gave him credibility where it matters the most, in the street. It was Winnie who showed Malema that you cannot liberate people by tiptoeing around the feeling of privilege. You must call it as it is. And Malema carries that defines today. But Malema has other things. He had the discipline, the extreme, well discipline from Winnie Mandela. He learned fire. But from Nelson himself, he learned patience. Nelson Mandela was the master tactician. He knew when to wait, he knew when to compromise, and he knew when to strike. Mandela, Malema studied Mandela moves very careful. He saw how Mandela could win even when losing in a short period term. He saw how perception legitimize an alliance could turn defeat into victory. This is why Malema is feared so much as a politician in South Africa. Malema has survived where others would have been destroyed completely. He knows when to tone it down to avoid jail and when to escalate to capture the national mood. That's pure Mandela discipline. Julius Malema is a hybrid politician. So, what do you get when you mix Winnie Mandela and Nelson's discipline? You get Julius Malema, the most dangerous politician force in South Africa today. He is not just radical shouter. He is a tactician. He turns court cases, scandals, and even expulsion into political fuel. When the courts rule against him for the so-called hate speech, his base only see proof that the system tears him. And that's the truth. The system does not fear him, not because of his words, but because of what his rising power represent. The end of white enclave like Orion, the redistribution of land, and the nationalization of banks and mines. Malema is not here to patch up system. He is here to break it open. Now let's look beyond 2026 and look ahead. The ANC is bleeding out. Corruption, failure have destroyed its image. The MK party had a flash of energy, but it's already splintering. The DA, it will never win a nationalized election. It's a party of privilege trapped in the Western Cape. That leave one force standing nationwide, the EFF, and Malema knows it. The DA knows it. The ANC knows it too. But here's the twist. Floyd Shibamba, the master strategist, is the wild card, is the wildest, suspended, dismissed, sidelined. Was he a mistake in the MK, or was he playing a deeper game all along? Either way, don't be surprised if Floyd Shibamba and Julius Malema don't unite. And I'm thinking 2026. One of the tragedies, the other, one is a strategist, the other is a tactician. Together, they could carry the EFF straight into government for 2026. And if that happens, South Africa will change forever. Land reform, Orion dismantled, the BRICS alliance over the West, and unapologetic redistribution of wealth. That is the nightmare of all South Africans' establishment. That is why every court ruling, every media attack, even labeled as hate speech, is being thrown at Malema. They fear what's coming. And what's coming, it's Malema and his EFF party. Malema will rise and will rise in 2026 and beyond. Let me know what you think. Drop me a line. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel so we can bring you more information and Pan-Africanism. We stand boldly upright for Pan-Africa. Again, this is the West Best Media, and my name is Neville Philpotts. Africa will rise. Babylon will fall. Catch me later on this very same channel. Or look out for the book coming. Africa will rise. Babylon will fall. Peace and love.